everybody, how are we doing? It is time for office hours, grabbing some lunch, had some soup, and the soup was too hot to eat, so I was like, let's just take a little break. It's been a relaxing week, so made some nice soup and just relaxed for a little bit. So I started office hours about 10 or 11 minutes late, my 5 to 8 minute estimates. I was trying to eat the soup, and I was like, soup is still too hot. Hey, Brianna, how you doing? Do you have questions? Drop those questions in the chat. Sorry about the late start right there. It was really good soup. It's like this. Gone now. No more soup. It was ramen. It's like this gourmet ramen they call it. Just tastes like normal ramen to me, but really good. It's got like garlic in it and stuff. So hey, yeah, I do have one. Nice. Let's take the question. Whatever you're wondering. Stats 201. Whatever questions you're wondering. I'm done with my soup. No more soup. I think it was a beef ramen soup. So good. Such good stuff. So it's like $2 a cup of ramen. That's not bad. You go to a restaurant, it's going to be way more. It's pretty good. Let's put like a fried egg over it. That'd be excellent. So when do we use the textbook in the class? Like, do we read on or whenever our quizzes are due or before? So the textbook is not required. It is a kind of like, there's an e-textbook that you'll be able to access. Let's go grab that. Let's talk. Let me add a timestamp right here. Stat 201, the textbook. So 225, Stat 201, textbook / study advice. Okay, let's go do that. Okay, I'm going to log in right here. Let's go talk about Stat 201 with some textbook and study advice. I'm getting the pages loaded up right here. Such a great question, Brianna. Let's throw some points. Is Mubot awake? Only one way to find out if Mubot is here in the chat. We hit the points button and we see if Mubot adds those points. Mubot has left us. He says, I cannot. Rebooting Mubot. He breaks the world. Mubot is waking back up, and let's go take a look at this. Here we go. So there is the e-textbook right here on my Pearson. Make sure you're logged into my Pearson. View the e-textbook. I don't know how much of it I can view while I'm doing this. Mubot's waking up right there in the background. He'll be awake here in a second. But you can go to the e-textbook. We'll blank the screen here for a second. They probably don't want me showing the whole textbook. So with the textbook, and here's the really good / bad part, Brianna, the textbook's awesome. It's going to have everything you need to know in it, all the topics to the highest caliber. And that's kind of the pro and the con to it. So like it's telling me how to use it. It's giving me all the advice. It's saying, did you know you can click this? So cool. Thank you. So it's got a lot of great stuff. I'm not a textbook type person. Don't tell anybody. I don't read many textbooks. I'm more of a video type person, as you can tell by what I do on my channel. I like looking up like YouTube videos on how to do stuff. But we're in here. Stats starts here. We'll look at all those people walking around data right there. So all these people are walking around inside of a data cloud, it looks like. Got here types of variables. And you see they go into a little extra detail. Models. We don't even have model stuff in our slide. So model is a way to describe reality. That's a really weird looking model right there. So they're talking about a model right here, a plot of declination against time, showing some patterns. There are many missing observations. Can you see the model that Kepler came up with these data? It looks like some sort of, you can see it. There's a pattern throughout here. So let's talk about making a statistical model. Hey, Kayla, so good to see you. I'm having a hard time figuring out what is due for this class, what is optional on DataCamp. Right now, so you're in 320, everything is optional on DataCamp. I want to work ahead as much as possible. We're going to put the next due date out here. You know what? I might do that even during office hours, Kayla. Stay tuned for the next segment. How about we set that next due date coming up here during office hours so you can take a look. So we'll have the next due date coming up here. We make them each assignment due weekly apart. And we kind of do a release schedule to make sure everything's set up and good to go. So you got it coming up here next. So the good news about using the book, and so if you've taken 201, you can maybe offer some advice to 201 students. The book is going to go into extra detail on stuff like on data. It's probably going to go, there's that data set we saw from the Amazon data set. It's going to go into information on variables. And so you're looking at here at different variable types and talking about categorical variables. How do we go to the next page? Here's next page button. Talk about categorical variables, quantitative variables, identifier, ordinal variables. So I would say it's not a bad idea to go in and just read through the book and list as many of the W's as you can see for this data set. W's. List as many as the W's you can see. Exactly. Let me throw 20 points right out there to Kayla. Is Mubot He doing his Mewbot thing? Mewbot is awake now. So the good news is, Brianna, is that with 201, you don't actually ever have to open the book. I think some of the great resources we have are the slides. So the slides are going to be a really great way to look through kind of like what exactly you need to know. The book's also a good resource. I really don't talk about the book that much, but you will get all the details on everything. And some people are really great with learning from books. Like that is how some people learn, and definitely utilize it. It's going to go into the detail and give you examples and kind of give you another way of hearing it. But the last but not least, we should always mention this, that probably one of my favorite ways, and remember, do what works for you. If you're acing all your classes and you read the book, then do this right here. Get the book out, read the book, and then come to class. I always say come to class, and then read through the book and learn the material. Like it's all about what works for you. But I always think a second way to practice stuff is to do the practice questions and do the speed runs. And maybe I'll try to make some 320 speed runs. But you can see right here in the speed run right here, we cover the same sort of material about what are quantitative variables, what are categorical, what are nominal, what are ordinal, and what are identifier. So going through, and we're actually, that's the same graphic we just saw in the book right there. So Brianna, do you have additional questions? I would say the book's a good resource. And we try to, especially with these videos right here, I try to hone in on like what exactly you should know. I was in almost every episode, never in this class. I'm horrible at math. I worked ahead, asked a lot of questions and made an A. 20 points right there, Kayla. That's what I think is the key to success is work ahead. And like when you have questions, just ask them. You can see right here, these are the topics we expect you to know. Quantitative versus categorical. Recognizing what is not a variable. Like if someone says, it's not really a variable, it's more like a response. If someone says like, how are you feeling today? Well, you could group that into happy, sad, content. But if someone says, I feel a little tired, woke up around 8 a.m. or so and got some work done. Pest control came by today for routine, all that stuff. You could give a response. So I think that covers it. Awesome. Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you so much, Kayla and Brianna, for hopping in. I think the book's a great resource. The topics haven't changed since 2016. That's 6 years ago. I still remember making this. Seems like yesterday. Let's do some 320 assignments right here. So, Kayla, in class today, we'll be saying that next assignment is out. So let's put a timestamp right here. So DataCamp told me that you assigned something. Oh, yeah, I think I put it's not actually due. Good question right there. Kayla, 20 points again. It's not actually due. It's just like a getting started on DataCamp thing. We have to like make a first assignment. So it's not actually for a grade. Not for a grade. Not for a grade. Good question right there. Great question. So I'm gonna grab the timestamp right here. 8:50. BAS 320. Upcoming assignments. Nothing is due on DataCamp right now. I don't plan either for 320. Not for 320. Maybe for 474. Let's go release a new assignment. You'll be the first to know, Kayla, as you're here live. First to know about this new assignment coming up here. I was like, what is happening? What's going on? We're going to bring out this new assignment right here. Let me take a look at it. Woo! First assignment's going to be pretty big. Let me look at it. We have Jan 30th coming up right here. So it'll be a week from Sunday. I think we can do it. I think we can. Sometimes we start class on Wednesday. I think we'll be good. Okay. One moment. Releasing. Got to head out. Awesome. Thank you for stopping by, Brianna. Let's throw some more points. Always love when people stop by. Stop by anytime. Throw out that question, especially at the start. Great time to throw out questions because then we're just chilling out. More points. We're sprinkling on those little points to start out. I always love people just saying hey to each other and creating that positive community. In just a moment, you will see the assignment released. I'm going to put a longer release on this. I'm getting the assignment ready to go right here. I'm doing a scheduled release. And we are so far in the future. So the 30th, it'll be released 2 Sundays after, because I think we can do this. Okay, I think we can. At least that Monday. There we go. Okay, update. Everything should be released for the test. Okay. There we go. That is scheduled there. You shouldn't be able to see it. There's the data file. There's everything. Doesn't have a rubric yet. Let me put a thing here, rubric. Okay, there's no rubric. Okay. I think that's got it. And due date. Still to be. Oh, thank you, Brianna. Don't I love to the audience right here? Okay. It's gonna be a big night tonight, Kayla. Okay, so Kayla, tell me, can you now see assignment 1? Is it due a week from Sunday? Can you now see it? Did this now appear? It looks like I got everything good to go on it. I think we're good. Some people are going to start this the night it's due. Don't do that. Don't do that. You can see it. What happens when you click this solutions button? I'll go over to student view. I got to remember I got student view. And so we say, I want to see those solutions. It says, no, you cannot. Good. I did it right. Due February 6th. So we got some time. What we got? Like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, then a whole week. We got like 10 days. That's almost half of winter mini term. I'd love to teach this during winter mini term. So with this right here, don't underestimate this assignment. So we're starting the assignment. I've got this segmented right now. Let's go check it out. Let's go take a look at this. The number one thing you want to do right here is understand what you have for the files. So let's talk about what these files are. Well, once again, please start early. Please ask questions. What does RMD stand for, Kayla? What does, this is an RMD file? What is an RMD file? Let's understand what these are. I see a Word document there at the solutions. Let me just go look at those solutions. Oh, I can't see solutions. And don't worry if the answer access denied. Watch it switch me back to my teacher account. I'll just show all the solutions. R Markdown, 20 points, Kayla, you got it. That's an R Markdown file. And so an R Markdown file is a special type of R file. And you can actually see it over here. Okay, good. That's homework 0. An R Markdown file allows you to create like a Word document and do code. Sure, why not? You can do like a Word portion and you can do code. This is insert code chunk that says plus code chunk. And so we can put code right here. Cool. Wow. You see, that's actually code. But if I write wow right here, that's like up here, it's like I'm writing wow in a what? Just so we can see, and then we'll go back to the non-markdown viewer. But writing wow right there is like writing wow in a what? Hence why it didn't change colors. Writing wow right there is like writing wow in a what? Because we're outside of a code chunk. We're not inside of a code chunk. So this is an R Markdown file, which allows us to create just like a Word doc. Yep, that's just a Word doc. And then writing it down here inside of this thing is like writing the code wow. And you'll notice this is inside of quotes, meaning it's a string. These are things we'll be covering in class. So when you put things, if you're writing a word, Kayla, so here's something to learn right here. Let's write wow, and let's write wow. Do you notice how these are different? And if I run this, we'll actually run into an error. It's going to tell me it can't find wow because it's looking for the object wow. Because the only way to make wow a word or like some sort of phrase is to put it inside of what? Which is what we call characters or strings. So the only way to make, so this is what we need to be learning right here. Like, okay, if we want something to be like words or characters, we have to put them inside of this. Very important thing. There's no wow, right? Oh, yes. Kayla, you're, this is it. Yeah, like if you're doing, Kayla, you're going to be ahead of the game. This is so awesome. Yeah. There's no wow in the global environment. We don't have quotes around it. The quote wow is a word wow. The wow not in quotes is different. It's the object wow. So if we were to go here and say wow equals, that's outside the code box. If we just say wow equals sad face, just go sad face. And now we run this and it says wow. And then the wow object is a sad face. Let's call it not wow. Not wow. And then we're just going to do that. So now when it runs not wow, it runs the sad face. Because the object not wow is a sad face. And then we run the object not wow, or we just evaluate what's inside of it. All this is being done in the Markdown editor, which is a really nice way to see what's going on. And here's what your Markdown files look like. There's other stuff up here. Don't worry about it. But we're doing it inside these code chunks right here. And this is kind of a setup thing. Don't worry about changing the setup stuff. So we have one other thing right here that often confuses people. And this is in our data. In our data is a brain. What do I mean by this? The brain is everything R knows. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my brain and I'm just going to hand it to you. The way to take that is to go right here and to download the R data file. It's kind of like a data set. It could have a lot in it. It could have data sets in it. It's kind of like that, but it's even more. It's everything you know. So it could have data sets in it. It's kind of, I would say, like, yeah, Kel, I think it's a good analogy. It's kind of like jump data. It's a brain. It's like it's gonna now know stuff. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually blank the screen when I do this. This saves your brain. This, you're kind of right. Like when you think about jump, like this will save everything up here that you know. Like if you have stuff saved, you could save what you know up here, or you could load what you know up here. It's called a workspace, and this will save as an R data file. So we're gonna go here to the load workspace, and I'm gonna get that file I just downloaded. And guess what? When I load it, watch it. Here comes the brain. There we go. It loaded in. We loaded in drugs, apparently. So this right here was what it knew. And so this is the good thing to know, is that it loaded in how many jump files did it load in? So the answer could be different on how you look at it, but look at the things it loaded in. It loaded in, yeah. And so it loaded in all these things. It said, hey, this is the brain of R right here. I could store more things to the brain. I could store my not wow to the brain, and that's stored up there now. And I could save it and then reload this later. But this is like your workspace, what you know right now, what it knows. Because if one day you say, uh-oh, I'm just going to destroy my workspace, then you would go back to here to load your workspace, and you would load in your workspace. And when you load it in, see it's loading the workspace right there. And now once it loads the workspace, there you go, it loads back in all that stuff. So we should take a look at what we have in this workspace right now. We have the alumni data set. We have the calls data set. We have the OPS data set. And we have a character vector of drugs. So what is the calls data set? A data frame is just like a what file. And these are actual calls, I think. What did you do to, yeah, let me show that again here, Kayla. Thank you so much. Kayla20 points. Keep asking those questions. To load in a data frame, this button right here, do you see this where it says load workspace, or yeah, an R data? To load in R data, which is a workspace, click that button right there, and then just go to where it downloaded on your computer and just double click the .r data file. So this loads what right here? R data files, which are workspaces. So that workspace I downloaded, you can see the name of it right here because it's got a bunch of things after it. Okay, awesome. And then be careful in the file. We'll take a look at the homework file in a second. I hope it has, if there's a number or something after it, let me know. If yours doesn't load, let me know. I might have to make a change to the file. We'll have to see if like people are downloading it and it's not working. I'll make some changes. So we have this right here. Data assignment 1 through 20, number 2, because I've probably downloaded it like 50 times. And we've got the alumni data frame, the calls data frame, the OPS data frame, and a character vector of drugs. CHR means character vector. Take a look at the calls data frame. What do you notice here? Is there any sort of thing here that is a character? Is variable 1, 2, 3, or 4 inside of the calls data frame? 1, 2, 3, or 4. Which one of these is a character, which means it's words? Which one of these, variable 1, 2, 3, or 4? And we're just going to review kind of, and then we'll start looking at the assignment a little bit. Is variable 1, 2, 3, or 4 like a word? And that's the way R sees it. Number 4, exactly. So what does it mean to be a character? Well, that is called the class of an object. So you can actually look at this by going to class, run the function class on calls, $, and then go to description. It says it's a character. That means when R evaluates this, it'll use certain ways of evaluating characters. Very important note right here, and you'll hear me say this in class. The class of an object determines how R evaluates something. Watch this right here. Let's run summary on calls, if I could spell, and do it on X. We get the min, Q1, median, mean, Q3, and the max. Kayla, Stats 101 review, and you'll hear it in the intro today with Stranger Things. You've already seen it, I know, but I'm talking about the what here mostly with the mean added in. With the min, Q1, median, Q3, and the max, we've just given someone the what. So the min, Q1, median, Q3, and the max are the values we use for the what. Hint. That's a hint right there. There's So the mean's also thrown in there as another measure of center, but we've just given someone the what. The 5-number summary. Exactly. Great job right there, Caleb. More points. Stat tool 1 review also. We can get that pretty quickly. But what about if we change the variable type right here? What if we change the variable type and go to, let's say right here, priority? Now, we'll get the 5-number summary, right? But priority is not quantitative. So priority is not quantitative, so we won't get a 5-number summary because it's a factor. We're going to get a table with the different priorities. We actually get a frequency table right here, which literally goes back to what we talk about in Stat Tool 1, like we could make a frequency table. So now, because this is categorical, which is a factor inside of R, it automatically does a frequency table for us. Well, what about, and this is what's really cool, and we won't really get into this much in our class, what if we did call date? Now, this one has a really weird, it says position IXCT. This is actually a date format. So now it actually gives us the dates, and we could ask for the minimum date, the maximum date. We could do distances between dates, but it's registering these as date times, like actual times. So it's kind of quantitative in a sense, but that's an actual time right there of the call down to the minute. And we have ways, I'm not going to go into much detail on this right now, but there's a package called Lubridate, which you can do year, month, day. And watch this. If you put in, let's go month, no, wait, day, month, year. Cool. If I go to, wait, month, day, year, there we go. If I say Jan, let's say, oh, what is today's date? 27, 2022, it does that. It changes it. But what if I say Jan, blah, 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 and I put in these spaces? It actually recognizes the date. And you see how it's changing the format right there for me? If I were to put in, probably, let's see if it works if I do that. Oh, it still does it. So this will reformat the date. This is what's called Lubridate. We're not going to work with it right now, at least. But this is a function that if someone were to put in a whole bunch of dates right here, it'll actually reformat it for you, which is so helpful. Somebody gives you a bunch of dates that are just kind of crazy, but they're all in a year, month, day format. Yep. So imagine someone were to give you year, day, month. Is that a format? Yep. Year, day, month. So we go here to year 2012, month 1, day 1, month 5. And then the next argument is 2018. And then we say here day 20, and we say here Feb. It'll convert both of those right there. And I'll clear it so you can see it. It just converted both of those into year, month, day format. So yeah, it's really helpful. And so it's taking somebody's input. It's like, Kayla, what are these inputs in this vector right now? So the two inputs I have inside of here are, be careful, they're inside of quotes. So what are they? Here's a hint. They're inside of quotes right now. And you could cheat and you could be like, say, what are these? Let me go look at the class of this. And this is what we're kind of talking about. We're just talking about class right now. You could look at that. Oh, it says 2 arguments. It doesn't like it. So let's just look at one of those. Character string, exactly. And that's what character means. Great job. Perfect answer. Character means like character string. And CHR, the character string. It's a string, a character. It's 100%. Both those answers are perfect answers. So it's going to then take this, and it's going to take this character string right here of 2 elements. It has 2 positions in it. And we could store this into X. And then let's look at it after we convert it and say class of X. And that's a date class. So the position IXCT is also a date class too. But that's what we're looking at. And probably, is it going to say that if I go class of calls? It's a date class. I've worked with it before. It's another way to do dates. I think the new Lubridate just says date, which makes more sense. It's much easier to know that. So we just need to know what we're looking at here and what we're seeing inside of here, because these data frames also look like what other program. Just think of this as a what spreadsheet. Like when you see these data frames right here, just think of it as a what spreadsheet. You've probably seen that program before. Don't get scared of these things. Be like, oh, I'm just working with a what right here. I'm just working with a what sheet. I got rows and columns. It's just like I'm in one of those Microsoft programs I've seen 1,000 times. Just like Excel right there. Just Excel. Just be like, oh, just Excel. Cameron, great to see you here. So much. We're throwing some 50 points for Cameron swinging by. Thank you so much, Cameron. So we got some really great upcoming stuff, Cameron. Thank you for swinging by. Thank you for saying hey, and just good to see you swing by. Yeah, we're just kind of talking off some basic coding right now. So you know what we should do, Kayla? Now that we understand what we have here, we've got a vector of drugs. So we could go to drugs and just look at that vector. Oh yes, was Cameron in your class? I'm trying to remember. Should we go and maybe do one of the questions, Kayla? What do you think? Do you have the assignment open? So we should have our assignment open right now. Should we go and just like go look at one of those questions? Should we be like, hey, let's go look at one of those questions right here. Make sure all this stuff just get working real fast. Yeah. Ooh. What should we do? Let's do it. Where would you like to start, Kayla? There's a whole bunch in here. You know what you can do if you want to see what those equations look like? Go to Markdown Editor. And with Markdown Editor right here, you can easily see what these equations look like. So this is going to really help right here. Go to Markdown Editor, and this can really, really help right here. So what should we do? Which question? And we'll talk through it. We'll do a good example. So let's put a bookmark here, and let's start working on one of these questions. You pick, Kayla, your call. BAS 320. Let's talk through one of these. Oh, it's not so scary. It's not so scary. Pick A, B, C, or D. Pick A, B, C, or D, and we'll do one of these. We might not do all of them. We don't always do everything for the assignments, but pick A, B, C, or D. And I am on the Markdown Editor. So whichever one you want, A, B, C, or D, and we'll work through it fully, and we'll talk about how to do it right here. Because the how is more important than doing it a lot of times. Like understanding how do we solve the answer. A, very good place to start. When you say the alphabet, you begin with A. So let's do here assignment 1, question 1A. Let's go check it out. Okay, so we've got this equation right here, right? Do you see it? Now, you might say, well, Brian, how are you viewing it this way? I'm in the Markdown Editor. So an easier way to view these things a lot of times is to see what will it look like if you hover over it. Good evening, Anders. Good to see you here. So if you hover over it, it'll show you it. Or if you go to this Markdown Editor, you can see it in line like you're working on it. Is it gonna show it? There it is. So we need to figure out a way to write this. Okay, so let's just start with the easiest of things. You ready, Kayla? Kayla, all I want you to do is write 12. Pretend you got a code for me 12. Just start with that. I want you to just start with 12. Just start with 12. Just start with 12. Don't go beyond that. I just want you to pretend you're coding 12. Yes! Shout outs to your teacher, whoever your teacher is. Tell them that's awesome. Inductive and like deductive reasoning. That's so awesome, Anders. Be like, I'm in stat tool 1. Or like, Anders, did you just finish? I think. 12. We're coding away right here. We got part of, so I can't even do the 12. Kayla, you got it right. I got it wrong. That's worth some points. There's 12. So does it run? So what should we do? We always code in. You'll hear me say this a lot today. Little bits. We always code in little bits. Now, Kayla, if you ever have any questions of how I do something, please ask, because I'm going to do things up here like, how'd you do that? Do you know how to run one line of code right now? And it doesn't matter where you're at. Do you know how to run one line of code? Like if I'm like, I just want to run that one line. I could run the full chunk over here because I'm coding inside of here. Don't code over here. This is not code. That's LaTeX. Don't code over here. That's not code. Do you know how to run one line of code? Just be like, close. So enter will just drop you down a line. You want to hit Control Enter on a PC or Command Enter on a Mac. So if you're on a PC inside of a code chunk or anywhere up here in the top portion on PC, hold Control and hit Enter. If you're on a Mac, hold Command and hit Enter. And that'll just run the one line. Kayla, don't worry, 20 points. Kayla, you know the perfect answer is just say you're not sure when everything, like whenever I say something, if you don't know the answer, just be like, I don't know. That's a great answer. And then I'll just tell. So if you don't say that, I'll usually just go on. I'll be like, so, but we've just hit Control Enter. We've run that one line of code or Command Enter on a Mac. And so with this right here, now we have to multiply it by 10. Let's ignore the next part, but let's just multiply by 10. We're just trying to write this out. So how would you do 12 times 10? And you might get it right, you might get it wrong. Don't worry, we're going to see what happens because there's a little thing we'll need to know. But don't worry if you get it wrong. How would you do 12 times 10? And we should probably put it in parentheses or something because we're going to have to, do something more to it here in a moment. Because we got 1/3 of this done. We did 12 and it ran. We've run a certain amount, but you can highlight code and then you can run that portion that's highlighted. So and then hit Control or Command Enter. So if you want to run a certain portion of code, highlight your code and then do it. Kayla, that's pretty good right there. That's great. Another 20 points. We do need, and so here's, I'm trying to trick you, and that will work. Here, let's show it. What Kayla answered does work. But here's what I would like. What I would like to do is I want my 12 to be outside the parentheses and my 10 to be inside of it. So I don't want the 12 inside of there with it. I'd like for 12 to be on the outside and 10 to be on the inside. And don't worry if you get it wrong, because there's a thing we'll find out. And I'll show it. You might get it right, or you might run into the error. And the error is something we should know. This question's written this way to run into an error that a lot of people might hit. So we want 12 outside the parentheses and 10 inside. I'm going to give you points either way, so don't worry. There's an error that can happen, and we're kind of meant to fall into it. We're meant to be like, oh, no, it doesn't work. You might be running it to... Yeah! I think Kayla checked her code. I got to throw 50 points for that. So Kayla did make it work right there. Kayla's got it. And notice, Kayla, I'm showing a trick here also. You can highlight code. And if you highlight code, you can do an open parentheses and put parentheses around it. So if you had a whole bunch of stuff written here and you highlight the code, you can do an open parentheses and put a parentheses around it really quickly. Or you could even put it in quotes by highlighting the code and doing a quote. You'll see me do a lot of quick tricks. So Kayla, great. That was worth another 50 right there because you got it right. The thing you would think would work, because it makes sense and it's written that way, is you would think this would work. Well, you did it without even checking it, and that's great. This right here won't work. It almost thinks like 12 is a function and it just says like error attempt to apply non-function. I'll do this. You'll see me do this. I know it doesn't work, but I've seen this my whole life. We write math this way. Yep. And so that's the error people will run into. You have to put the multiply between it right there, and then you got it. So we're almost here. We just need to subtract that square root of 38 now. I mean, this would technically be a right answer to go here and do 38 and go square root. So we could just copy paste this. Like, I would not suggest this. Don't do this. I guess my graders need to give you full credit if you do this. Like, well, you know what's good is now we know the answer. Now we could check this because now we know. Oh, Kayla, you got these answers. What do you say you don't know how to do this? Kayla knows the function to take the square root, and the square root function will take the square root of whatever we're looking for. And guess what, Kayla? We just checked our answer because we did it like a few ways. There are additional ways, and Kayla, great job right there. We just did it in those little bits. You want? Should we do one more right here? We knocked a home run on this one. You could also, and be very careful, raise this to the 1/2. I'm doing a common mistake right here. Awesome. Tell your philosophy teacher that physiology teacher. I can't read anything. Tell your physiology teacher, keep it up. Awesome. Wait, that's a different answer. So you have to be very careful. Kayla, I'm going to give a hint right here. Kayla, give me a suggestion to fix this, because raising something to the 1/2 power square roots it, but I didn't raise it to the 1/2 power. Do you have a suggestion on how I should fix my code? 20 points for a guess, 50 points right answer. So I want to get the same answer because I know raising something to the 1/2 square roots it. So I'm not happy right now because my code doesn't come to the same answer. But think about what the code is doing, and there's an error that we should be able to fix. Don't worry. Even I don't know. I'll give points for. But what do you think? And then we can do another one of these. What could we do right here? I've got it highlighted for a reason. So right now, it's not giving the right answer. That fixes it. That's worth 50 points. That fixes it. That will fix it. That does fix it. And we confirmed that it fixed it. So that was an answer I didn't think of, but wasn't thinking of at the time. It's good. What you could also do is you could take the 1/2 and have it evaluate by putting inside of a parenthesis. So then that will evaluate to 1/2 right there. And then we get this. The code for this doesn't raise it to the 1/2. It raises it to 1 and then divides it by 2. Does that make sense? It's 38 raised to 1, and then take that answer of 38 raised to 1 and then divide that by 2. So it's not raising 38 to the 1/2. It's raising 38 to 1 and then dividing it by 2. R reads through spaces, so I can kind of make it look a little bit understandable right there, being saying that's not 38 to the 1/2 power. That's 38 to 1 divided by 2. So you can fix this. You could go right here and it reads through spaces. put it into parentheses, and it will evaluate properly. It'll then evaluate the 1/2 and then say 38 to the 1/2. Do you want to knock out one more? This was a great discussion. Kind of just showed the answer right here. So someone has to go through and watch a little bit. Don't put all those codes. Don't write, capitalize. Don't write everything Brian writes. He usually does way more work and different things while explaining how to work a problem. I gotcha. You want to do that? Yeah, exactly. You want to make it look nice and understandable. We did some really, I'll show that here in a moment. Do you want to do one more, or I can show like kind of where all this is heading, because 475 had some really cool stuff today. What would you like to see, Kayla? What questions do you have? We still got another 30 minutes or so just hanging out. No class until 6:10. What? Such later in class. See, now you look at this one right here and you're like, I bet I could code that. Yeah, it's that's why I'm basically just wanting there to be questions. That way people utilize the videos, they come back and check this out and get to know. We could skip to a different section and do different concepts. This is more about how to just write equations. Like this looks really scary, right? That looks super scary. Like you're like, oh my gosh, that's a lot. That's so much. It's so much. We could do C if you want, or we could jump to a different section. Your call, Kayla. Should we do like C? Should we jump down to other stuff where we do some functions? What should we look at? C looks really scary. Not saying we should do C, but people look at that and they're like, oh my gosh, no way I'm going to be able to write that. That's too much. Can't do it. Impossible. No one's ever coded that. We'll see what people say in the chat. It's your call. If you join in at any time here, you can join in and ask any question. I'll work those questions. Let's see. I'm still on top chat. Let's do B. A, B, C, D. That's the way we roll right here. Make sure I'm going to close down. Put a little break between sections right. That always helps me. All that open right there. Okay. Let me go grab the timestamp here. B. So I'm going to have you help me out, Kayla. I'm going to ask short questions as I usually do. And I'm going to have you help me out and figure out how to code this. So get ready for some questions. Let's get ready. Here we go. Okay. So B is using some exponents. It looks a little scary right there, right? Now, Kayla, do you know how to write E inside of R? Don't worry if you don't know how. Do you know how to find E? You would think, okay, I can just write E. Now remember down here is where we do throwaway code, where we just like write something. We can just go E. And it says, well, I can't find E. Well, we're stuck. Game over. If you don't know, feel free to say don't know. But do you know how to find E? How do we get E inside of R? No clue. Great answer. I'm throwing 50 points because that's always a great answer. So E can be found pretty quickly. E can be found with a function exp1. So what the function exp does is, it's not like a video game exp. That'd be so cool if it was, but it's not. Exp takes the value of E, and so let's just call this. I wouldn't do this, but it might be easier to see it if I do it this way. If we do E raised to the 1, and that is E. If we do E raised to the 2, that is exp2. So I stored into E the value of E. Does that make sense? Because exp1 is E raised to the first power. So I just kind of created my own E. I wouldn't suggest doing that, but I hope that helps better communicate this idea that the function exp raises E to a value. So E raised to the 5th can be found with exp5. It's just the same thing I'm doing. I've created my own E. And so awesome. So you know what's really nice about this? What are we doing right here? We're raising E to the 2 minus 2/5. So we're raising E to the 2 minus 2/5. And then that is being multiplied by 15. Well, so let's just try to write only this portion right here. So Kayla, be very careful. I'd like for in the chat for you just to write 2 minus 2/5. Now be very careful. I think it'll work either way. I'll double check, but I'm pretty certain I think it will. We'll double check. I use a lot of parentheses. Try writing 2 minus 2/5. try writing 2 minus 2/5 in the chat. I'm pretty sure it'll work either way. You don't have to be too careful. You don't have to be too careful on that one. It's probably the way I'd write too. And so here's the thing. So that is correct. With the E stored, we can write it that way. So Kayla, and I'm throwing more points out to you. That will work with what I've written. Try doing it without raising it to E, because we're just kind of creating an extra step right here by using the E raised to. So that does look correct. But instead of using that, take what you have and just change this. So we're going to see if it works with the EXP. So we've got to check on our answer right here. So try rewriting it, and so that works. That will work. You just have to store the E, which, I mean, sure, it works. We can't stop you from doing that. It's just, especially as you code more and more, you wouldn't be like, oh, I got to store my E every time. I don't know, might make more sense to people than seeing the EXP. It's shorter, I guess. So yeah, I don't know. They should have just had a special character E. I don't know why they didn't want to do that. So all we need to change, instead of doing E raised to, is we just can make it. Does that make sense? Yep. I'll go. So that gets the same answer. You're doing great. It's the same thing. It's the same thing, because E raised to this is saying as the function is the same thing as saying the function exp, because whatever goes inside of here is what E is raised to. Like, does that make sense? Whatever goes inside of here, the argument is raise E to this. So exp says take E and raise it to this. So take E and raise it to this. So what do we need to do to it next now? What do we need to... I might not even do this full problem right here, because then what do we do this next? I think you basically got it. What do we do this next? What should we do to that next? What should we do to that next? Like the next step, only coding little bits. Only coding those. Little bits. What should we do to this next right here? And then we won't put any more in the chat. Someone's be like, oh, I don't want to know the answer. I want to know the answer. Come on. So close. Okay, so we do that. It worked. You know what I might even do here? Since this is going to evaluate right here, I'm going to take and put this inside parentheses by doing that right there. So highlight the code into a parentheses, just do a shift 9 around it, and get the parentheses there. I'm going to check my answer, because I think you should be able to figure out the next portion, because it's just another little exp, because you're going to take E and raise it to the 6 minus, and then we got 4.5 times, and put that in parentheses, 4.5 times 3.6. Yep. Is it working, Kayla? Because now just do a plus. John, great to see you here. John, great to see you. Awesome, John. Did you get that remaining E and then raise to? I'll show this right here. Were you able to get that remaining E and then raise to? Remember what you put inside the parentheses is what it raises to. So it's going to be like, oh, then exp, and then this inside the parentheses. And then I can confirm your answer for you if you want. I don't have mine open. I can't. Oh, that's all right. The numbers after the decimal should be 29 from what I saw. So if you get stuck on this, let me know. I think that's a really good help on this one. I'm trying to like not give a full answer every time to let people be like, because the big thing is just pushing your mind to be like, was it Brian? Yeah. Oh, John, thank you so much. Throwing out some more points. I'm just so honored by people come by and say they missed the class. That's what really, I don't know. We're doing an interview on Monday night. I'll be announcing that in class. So John, are you into sports at all? I'll mention this real briefly right here. But if you're into sports, we have Jeremy Frank, who's a Purdue student who's going to be working with the Astros, I believe. He's not affiliated with the MLB, but he's a current student at Purdue. We've got this event right here. So just made the thing for it this morning. And so got 4 people waiting on it, ready to go. And we posted about it on LinkedIn. So hopefully it's getting some more interaction. Yes, you love it. Then check this out. We're going to have more people. I'm going to send this out to more of my class students right here. People are liking it, replying to it, sharing it. And so we're going to try to get a bunch of interaction on this. I'm going to mention it to my 201 students on Monday. and try to get a ton of traction on this because I think he's going to have some really great just insight, stories, and advice for our students. And there's the event right here. So I'll drop this in the chat right here. You know what we could do? Put it on your calendar. Yes. It'll be 7:30. I know it says 6:30 right there because I'm in Texas time. But if you want, go check out the video, throw a like on it. We're going to try to just make it a really cool event. I ordered his book. It's coming in this weekend, and I'm really excited. So Sports Analytics Club, Business Analytics Club, and we're going to probably have Dennis or someone from the Business Analytics Society come and speak at the start and just welcome, I don't want to get his name wrong. Jeremy. There you go, Frank. Jeremy Frank. Just for coming and speaking to us. And we should try to send him something. Maybe we should send him a UT. We should send him like a little UT thank you package. Maybe I could talk to my department and say, can I get little $30 thank you packages for people to come and visit, like a UT shirt, a UT mug, and something else. Like, thank you for speaking at UT. Oh, that'd be so cool. I don't know. The expenses, right? Can we also fly them in here to UT? I mean, that's just the smallest thing we could do as a token of our gratitude. So maybe I'll be doing that if I'll talk to my department head. I should get a hold of him. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But that's what we got coming up right here. And I might just send him it if, I don't know. I really appreciate it. He just jumped on it, and he could be like, oh, I spoke at UT one time. They're really nice. And it's really nice he's taking 30, 45 minutes out of his night, however long he wants. Will you be teaching 475 again at all? Yes, I will be, Anjali. I'll be teaching 475. We'll hop over to the main screen. Kayla, if you have more questions, let me know. We're just chilling out. What questions are there? Anjali, I will be teaching some 475 again. Drop those questions in the chat. I think I'm teaching 475 over the summer. Some data analytics, some good stuff right there. Really fun class, 475. If you want, Kayla, I can kind of tell you where this is all heading. And we're doing some fun stuff right here. So if you want to see, like, things can look really complicated, but it's all about coding in little bits. I'm going to go cook some dinner. Go have some dinner with the children. These brats. I mean, angels. Do it. Grab some dinner. Go enjoy some dinner. And thank you for swinging by, Kayla. Anjali, if you have questions, let me know. But no, have fun. Enjoy time. We'll be starting class here in a little bit. Not yet. I think do off-stars go to 5:30? I don't know. I started late. So let's see right here. I'm looking at next week till 5. We'll chill out here. Anjali, so glad to have you swing by. Got a few 320 questions from today. Good. We're talking about some pilot visits. Good stuff. Let's see. Awesome. See if anything major is happening. Things look pretty calm everywhere. Discord's just hanging out. Awesome. People are getting advice. Adam Spanbauer knows so much. I'm just looking at Adam Spanbauer right here. Good stuff. If you have questions, let me know. Let's see. Maybe I'll talk about some shiny. Do a little shiny stuff. It'll be fun. Get our practice in for shiny. Daily shiny practice. Let's do that. Let's go create a little bit of shiny apps right here. So 475 shiny apps. So we did a little 320 today. We talked a little 201. Let's talk a little shiny. Here we go. And let me take a timestamp. Gonna explain how to make shiny apps. BAS 475 shiny app creation. Let's head over here. Okay. So if you want to start with like a really basic setup for Shiny app, you can always go to the Plus Shiny web app. Now this is like the most bare bones basic Shiny app we can have. And let's go here and just call this my first Shiny app. I like doing single files. So that's cool with me. Cool, we got it. It actually gives you like this default layout right here with the Geyser app, which is the old faithful data, plotted in a histogram. And we're just going to run everything. Save selected. Cool. And now we're going to get our very first app. It was that easy. But we need to understand what's going on right here. Now, if you're in class today, you've probably heard some of these ideas. That what you're seeing right now is the UI. The UI is the user interface. Like I, the user, can interface with these buttons. The user, myself, is interfacing with this. I'm not really interfacing with this, but this is in the UI. It's in the user interface. I can see it. Now, this histogram right here is being created in the server. The server is the computer doing all the computations. So I'm going to create something in the server and then send it back up to the UI so I can see it. Watch what happens when I take the output and just delete it out of here. So now I'm going to run this without the output from the server. And guess what we lose? We lose the histogram. The histogram was the output from the server. So we want to put that back in here so we can see the output. Now you'll notice I used words like input. I am using a slider input. The slider input then sends the information down to the server with the input down here with the input list. This is using the $sign right here to make a list of inputs, and the name for this thing we're accessing is called bins. We could actually improve upon this as we did in class today. So this is kind of an addition to class. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to go library, Shiny Web Apps, Shiny Widgets, that's what I was looking for, and then Shiny Widgets Gallery. Okay. So this is a widget gallery. Widgets are just things you can add to it. A single checkbox. Let's do it. I think I did this one time by accident. Cool. So let's go right here. This is awesome checkbox. You see it goes like this. It goes pew, pew, cool checkbox. This is the value that it currently has. This is what it's seeing. So this will go between true and false. So it's true and false. So this will have either true. This is what the server's going to see. So I'm seeing what the UI sees right here. This is what I click, and I click it in the UI, and then this will send the information to the server true. To insert this, I need to put this right here into the UI. It's all on one line, I think. It just looks a little weird like that. I'm going to grab it, copy it. I'm going to go up here to the UI, and it would go right here in the side panel bar. I'm going to do a comma for a new argument. Forgot that during class. And we go right there and put our awesome checkbox, and we run it again. I'd like you also to notice how many times I run my code. Every time I make changes, I run my code to check it. Run your code and check it and see what's going on. We have the awesome checkbox. All I did was add it to the UI. So hear that again? All I did was add it to the UI. So that means it's only in the UI. It does nothing to the server. It's not even sending anything. It's just a button. What's it do? It's a button. That's all it does. So what we need to do is we need to take this information, this true or false that it is sending, or this true or false that it has, and send it somewhere. So it is telling right now true. Now it's saying false. But it can't, the server can't hear it. This isn't even really the server, but it's not doing anything. It's not telling the server, the computer down there, anything. So let's take this information, and we have to first also know, where is this information being stored? Well, the information is currently being stored in ID 005. Let's just call it checkbox. That's a much easier thing to understand instead of ID 005. Checkbox. So like down here where we do input $bins, when we access this, it'll be input $signs checkbox. So that is where it's currently located in the brain of the server. So what could we do with this? Well, let's think. Let's go here, and I think this will work. I'm just thinking. I don't want to go too complicated. I know what I want to do with it. And then I'm like, how can I do it but not do too much? Okay, we'll do it this way, a lot easier. Okay. So let's change the color of the histogram, and then we'll go crazy. So right here, we're going to go call and go if input $checkbox. So I spelled it. Equals, or that you can just do if it is this, because that's going to do true. And I'm going to make this look a little bit nicer right here. I'm just making it so we don't have all the lines. I think it's mad about this. Yeah, it's fine. We'll fix that. Okay, cool. Here's the histogram, a little bit easier to see. If checkbox, then red. And then we can put an else right here, else blue. So now what it's doing is it's going to the color of the histogram, which is an argument. If the input checkbox, which is actually a true false value, so if looks at this and sees if this is true, we don't have to say is equals true. I used to do that a lot. I was actually right about to do it, but I remembered that what is this currently storing in it? If it's checked, it's saying true. And if it's not checked, it's saying false. So if the box is checked, that's what that basically says, make it red. Else, make it blue. Let's run this. So it should work. Oh, there you go. We've done it. And the histogram that is now having the color change on it is changing colors. And we could, we probably shouldn't even say a single checkbox. We should probably say something like, red versus blue. Let's go right here and say red versus blue. And we're just changing the kind of title to it, the label on it, red versus blue. And there we go right there. Just change red versus blue. But how about if we go a little bit crazier here? Because, do you like randomness? Can I remember how I did this? Let's have this set to false first. So the current value when this loads up is not checked. So it's going to be set to false, and then someone can check it. So we change the default value. The default value right here is the value. This is an argument saying at load point, tell me how it should be. The status danger is like the way it looks. I can't remember the other statuses off the top of my head, but there's other statuses that can be used. We can check with question mark awesome checkbox and look at the other statuses over here. I just can't remember. It's the way it looks. It's going to change the color style of it. Status danger. There's other statuses. I can't remember. Yeah, there's just tons of different status. Oh, there's primary. So we could change it. And this will change it from being like a reddish box or something to a different color. And you see now it's got like the blue around it, where when it's danger, it looks like a red box or so. So those just change the style of the box right there. So just after a while, you learn what each thing does. Each option changes, like the default value, the name on it, right here, the name you see over it, the input in the server, and then also here the style of the box. This might as well just say style. I wish it didn't say status. I wish it said style. And this could be like default value. So we got all this ready to go right here. Let's see if we can do our randomness. And if I remember how to do this, I bet, how many observations are in that? Okay, so let me try this. Well, first, let's see if this works, because I think we should be fine on that. Okay, of course. Of course we're fine. Okay, let me make a vector. And the vector needs to be... Okay, let me try this. Let me go do paste hashtag, comma, and then we just need a random, wait, no, then we need this. Then we need, let's try this. Oh, Knopf on pasta, paste. Okay, there we go. Wait, was it? Invalid hex color in Italy. Wait, what? Is that not right? FFA. Let me try it again. Oh, paste 0. Paste 0 puts no spaces. That's what drove me nuts right there. Paste 0 puts no spaces. Oh, so we need to put this in the other argument. Wait, if not. Okay, there we go. I switched it so now it does the action when it does this. So we have it now switched. I put a not in front of it. This just flips the evaluation from true to false. So I'm doing a little bit. I'm just having some fun right here. I want to see if this is where Brian's just having fun during All Stars at this point. Hopefully, if you jump in with a question, please ask away. But I'm just kind of being like, okay, can I do the crazy random thing that I did by accident one semester? So this is hexadecimal color coding right here. The hashtag calls hexadecimal. The FF is the highest value of red. This is the amount of green. This is the amount of blue. What I probably need to do is I probably need to make a value of hex values. Hex values should be a vector of 1 through 9. And then the first, no, 0 through 9. What am I doing? 0 through 9. And then also concatenate on this. We're making a vector of hex values. Letters, does it need to be capital? I think it's capital. So capital letters and the first 6 of these. That should be possible hex values right there. So now I should be able to generate a random hexadecimal color code if I take my hex values, and because these are the hexadecimal values, and let's go here and take right here and go to sample, and let's take 6 of the values. There we go, right there. And now we want to paste 0 these together. Paste 0 these together. Ooh, it's doing it as a, we don't want that. We do unquote. So unquote. Unquote. I thought unquote was a thing. Am I making up things that don't exist in our code? This is unquote. What? Am I misspelling it? Oh, it's in Epley. Oh, wow. Well, we got install packages Epley on here. So we are grabbing a package that has the unquote function in it. We're going to move this off of here because I just want something to unquote that. What? Is it not like the position on it? That's where coding drives you nuts. No. What is going on here with this? I will get this to work. There's all the hex values. And now we want to just oh, no course ID, Matthew. If you have problems signing up with it, let me know. There's no course ID. It'll automatically connect when you do it right there. It'll automatically connect when you do it through the instructions. Why is it still putting those quotes around those? I'm gonna cheat and find out. Generate random hex values in R. Generate random hex values in R. Okay. Such an easy way. Okay, someone already coded it all up. Here's the code for it. Paste 0. I was very close. Sample, they concatenated. They literally did exactly what I'm doing right here. They're sampling replace equals true. Oh, I was not doing it that way. But they're doing, and then they're collapsing. Are they creating, whoa, that's length 64. We don't want that. We only want of length 6. And there's our random hex code. And then they're collapsing. That's something we can do in the paste, is collapse it. So this is random hex code right here. So it's a random hex value. Random hex. And so this right here is the random hex code creator that we needed. And so we could just take this code that we found and go right here and go and put the same thing right here. And let's go. And that's why looking stuff up can be so helpful. So now it should just, oh, and you know what we forgot? We forgot before this to do a, right here, there we go. That should fix it. You have to use the hashtag to call a hex code. Oh, invalid RGB. Ooh, let's see what this evaluates to. Oh my gosh. So let's take this and then go inside of a paste 0 here and paste. Can we paste a paste 0? That's why I didn't like that. And then close this off. Or well, we're trying to paste 0 two things together. Let's see if this works. Go away, errors. There we go. That's a proper hex code right there. So that will run as a hex code. So it should work theoretically right now. Theoretically, it should like it. Ah, and look, every time we click it, that's neat. Every time we click it, we get a different random color. So that's actually what I intended to do a semester or two ago. But these are completely random colors. But every time you pick it, you just get a different random color. You don't know what you're going to get. So it's going to generate a random color each time. That's what we like. Randomness right here. But that's just I don't know, just thinking of things you can do. It's like I like to try to press my knowledge with little tasks like this to say, and I basically had that hex code creator thing, just the collapse I missed. I didn't have the argument collapse the quotes on it. Should have thought of that. But you get your different codes. Now, what I did is I did the following. We got like a few more minutes here. I'll leave my class 15 minutes before class starts. Let's make a new box and say go here and say more randomness. Okay, we need to change this. We'll call it checkbox 2. And so we should have our more randomness checkbox now because we have to give it a new ID. And then we say more randomness. So now more randomness does nothing. It's just a checkbox. And now we want to make it so only... So we go here. And the call is going to get interesting. Code's about to get crazy. Else do this. And then we need to be inside the else right here. Okay. If input checkbox 2, then we're going to do the craziness. Okay. Then we got to put the else on this. Okay. If input checkbox 2, then we want to take this right here. And we're going to go here and say rep this 40 times. Okay. And then we need to go here and say else. I think I got that right? Else run the code here. You can click the end of a parenthesis and see where it ends. This is a scary change. Go away. I feel like there's an error. Oh, there's a parentheses error. It's saying I'm missing one parentheses. That's what it's mad about. That should make everything... Okay, good. Okay. Do you like randomness? Oh, I didn't do it. It's not repping it. Let me look at what that created. I thought it would do it. I thought it would do what I wanted. No, it's not doing a 40 rep of that. Oh, it's because the parentheses off on that. That's why. Okay, that's what it is. It's an off parentheses. I didn't close off the thing. Okay. Do you like randomness? Still not doing what I want it to do. So close. If it does what I want it to do, I'll tell you. What is this a value? I'm looking at what a value. Oh, it's doing the same one. That's the problem. So it's repeating the same thing. Right, so that's the problem. It only creates one. So the problem is I want it to be a whole bunch of like a rainbow color, and I'm just repeating the one color. So I want it to then run this code and create multiple different colors, but it's just creating one color. So I don't want one color. I want multiple colors. It's just creating the same color code when I do it, and it's just repeating that same color code. Just thinking. It's just like I need to create it 40 times. I think I know how to do it, and it's not gonna be good. This code creates it. Okay, can I do this speed run time here? Okay, that's good. That creates it. So I need to create a blank space for this. What a bad idea. For I in 1 through 40, initialize blank vector. This is... It's not going to see it. It's not going to work. Output $1 or I. Store into that. No, that's going to print it afterwards. No way is that going to work. No way. Ah, no. I broke it. I broke it. Ha! That's why it's breaking. Oh, I don't want to initialize it here. What am I doing? That's why that breaks. I want to initialize the blank vector outside of it. It's got it. More randomness. Do you like randomness? Good. It doesn't do it. Don't do it. Do you like randomness? More randomness. Cool. All right. Let me post this in. Well, that's got it, everybody. I need to send off the announcement to class. We can go post this in the Discord right here. 475 Discord. 475 general. And say, do you like randomness? Okay. Do you like randomness? Check it out. There we go. Okay, cool. All right, cool. All right, well, that's got it right. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate it. I like to do stuff like this to test my mind, to be like, can I figure it out? And like, I wanted it to only work if it did it, and it just like does the craziness right there. Because it's creating the random color codes. So, and you don't get it unless you do the do you like randomness and then the more randomness. So it's like a sub input on it. And then it just randomly color codes the bars. We could actually like limit the amount of colors you're getting by going here and doing it only like 4 colors. We could input like how much randomness do you want, and then we could change that by the user input. So now I see. Look, that looks really cool. That's even better. It's kind of a neat histogram then with 4 colors being alternated between it. So you get a 4-color pattern of random colors right here. It's like tropical Skittles or something like that. I love some tropical Skittles. So anyways, that's got it. We'll be back here in a little bit, or tomorrow, or Monday, at least for class. I'll see my class coming up here soon. Bye for now.